Welcome to Get the Net, a fishing podcast that takes a deep dive into competitive events, fishing news, tips, tactics, and most importantly, interviews with some of the most interesting and in-tuned anglers from Canada to the central U.S. We're leaving no stone unturned to bring you the most raw and authentic dock talk. My name is Jamie Bruce. While my resume says bass, my frying pan says walleye. I'm no stranger to the multi-species realm. Whether you're puttering on tackle, driving the bus, cutting the grass, or killing time in a 9 to 5, we'll try to give you something in every episode to take with you on the water, or at the very least, bring you a few laughs. Okay, welcome back everyone to Get the Net, episode 11. Still trucking along, right in the heat of the busy season here for, local tournament-wise and some Bassmaster stuff heating up. We got some things to catch up on. We got Bassin for bucks, Crow Lake, Red Lake walleye, Shoal Lake, river tournaments, Bassmaster stuff, endless. So, we're gonna dive right in. Glad to have a little bit of downtime. I've just been, rigging up the Lund, getting ready. I'm going down to South Carolina next week. Definitely looking forward to that. Got to hop in Bassin for bucks this year. I think it's my 7th time fishing it. Back with my OG partner, Rob Perrier. Didn't win her this year, handed the trophy off to Troy Norman and Andy Carlson. No one more deserving of that, in my opinion. They won the party and won the tournament. This is a huge 126 boat, 3-day, super competitive event. But it's kind of unique in the sense that it has, I'm not going to lie, she's got a bit of a party element to it. You kind of have to keep up with the nightlife. We all stay at Crawford's camps. It's a ton of fun. Everyone looks forward to it. Kind of treat it as a nice vacation weekend, and then just tack a super competitive tournament on top of it. So it's a really good time. Like I said, I fished with Robbie again this year. Last year, Ashley subbed in. My wife Ashley. Rob couldn't make it for very good reasons. And 2 of them, and Ashley subbed in and actually won the tournament. So probably kind of stung a little bit, but like I said, he had very good reasons not to be there. So he's back this year, we didn't win. We handed the trophy off to Norman and Carlson. Had a fantastic weekend. Fishing was absolute dog for us. I don't know how he ended up in 3rd. It was just pretty much a grinder. And you hear that all the time, and, people complain all the time, oh yeah, tough fishing. And I say it all the time too, but this was legit, super tough fishing, but it was pretty sweet. So, a couple things I got to touch on there. I mentioned it's a big party. Somehow we got designated with the party cabin pretty much for the last 6 years. And since we've been having that Saturday night party, every person that's won the tournament, keep in mind there's 126 boats. Every person that's won in the last 6 years has been in attendance on the Saturday night party. And this isn't like a 100-person party. It's usually 20, 30, 40 people. It's not tons. So just kind of a fun fact that, Matt and I of Crawford's both brought up. And I don't know what it is, if it's just, having the ability to not take it so serious and relax a little bit, not running home and going to bed at 8 o'clock, like I will be probably at Hartwell when I'm there for the Open. But just kind of a fun fact. Another thing, Norman Carlson had 1960 on the last day. Every person that's won in the last 4 years, keep in mind it's a 3-day tournament in a super condensed part of Lake of the Woods. You're getting 20% of the lake you can fish for 126 boats for 3 days. On the 3rd day, whoever's won the last 4 years has had their biggest bag of the tournament on the 3rd day, which is crazy because everything you've been fishing is stepped on. It used to be you would just go out and try to just survive on the 3rd day and get what you get, and the weights would almost always drop. But we're kind of seeing, I think it's just a shift in, how good people are getting, willing to call an audible and go run a new area or a new program or try something different on the last day. And when Ashley and I won last year, we pointed the bow in a different direction. We were in 4th. I was like, well, we're not going to win doing what we were doing. pointed in a different direction and caught the biggest bag of the last day. Had 19 pounds and won the tournament. I don't know if something similar happened with these guys, but I know it's happened before. So just something cool to throw out there. Rip through the stats here quick. Norman and Carlson beat everyone's ass. 2 pounds over Cole and Paul Forsyth, 4 pounds over myself and Rob. And then after us was all super tight. Jeff Gustafson and Mike Reed right there. Jimmy and Benny Gustafson right there. Hebert, Salvador, Connor, Pearson, Olson, McNanny, Ryberg, Curtis Scott, James Beecham, all in the top 10, all over 50 pounds. Big bags again this year. I know the fishing was a lot tougher than last year. I don't care what anyone says. It was warm, so it kind of threw a different dynamic out there. But, still a really fun place to fish. And when you go to these tournaments in the same area at the same time every year, what happens is, the weather changes it, the high water changes it. So it's always different every year. Something cool to keep you on your toes, really. We fished out deep a bunch in the tournament. Everyone's got a live scope now or forward facing sonar of some sort. Not everyone, but a lot of boats. And you can definitely see that pressure offshore. And I'm happy to see that the fish are reacting in the way that they are too, because I was a little bit worried when forward facing sonar came out. It was like, okay, we're just going to catch all these things and herd them and they're going to get caught 10 times a day and whatever. But they've really adapted. They're onto you now. Like, you put the boat over them, they just leave. You cast at them, they swim the other way. Like, you got to get really creative to catch them. So it's good that the bass have kind of that biological survival instinct, and and it helps us too, because it makes us better anglers around here. So I talk about that a lot, about how the bar is kind of always being raised around here, and it's these big tough tournaments that do it. But if you're thinking about fishing a tournament in the area, I would highly recommend Bassin for bucks. It's a modest entry fee. It's not a super expensive weekend. It's a really good time, good way to get into it. And like I said, it's a good time, and it's competitive, and the volunteers are unbelievable here. Barb Salvador and her massive team of volunteers all get right into it. It's super smooth, fast. Like, can't believe this many people will give up their weekends to support the community and the tourism and all the anglers, and there's like a kids tournament and everything like that too. So thanks again to everyone that's a part of that, and congrats again to Troy and Andy for winning the tournament. I actually Troy was supposed to be on the podcast tonight. He took ill, or said he did anyway. I don't know if he's really a podcasting type, but we'll get him on here one of these days. Didn't want to bug him again. Andy, I'm not even going to try, because I know what the answer is going to be there. But anyway, congrats again, fellas. Now, what's next? We're recording this on September 23rd. So there's a big weekend of tournaments coming up in the area here. There's the Shoal Lake Bass Classic, the Musky Cup, LaBelle's over on Rainy Lake. I'm sure there's a few more too. I think there's one in Atikokan on Sunday. It's banana season for tournaments. You can pretty much pick your poison and run with it. I'm taking the weekend off. I got a lot of house and camp and boat stuff to get ready before I leave next week. But I do want to touch on this, and I was talking with a couple buddies about this the other day, and that's the Shoal Lake Fall Bass Classic. There were some contentious issues there last year, and I'm not bringing this up to out anyone involved. I'm just kind of bringing it up for awareness and, hopefully for the benefit of the tournament and the people that run it. So now, I wasn't here for this. This information was just sourced through, people that were in attendance and right there and saw it all go down. People who I'll definitely take their word for it. But like I said, not my information, so not guaranteed to be reliable. But here's the gist of it. Last year, a team weighed in 22.82 pounds. That's bar none the lake record on Shoal Lake, and it is attainable out there. It's possible. There's big bass. It was going off that time of year. So this team had weighed this big bag in. Big fish at the time was 4.36. You know, pretty modest big fish for that time of year and for how big that bag was. And so they told me, yeah, okay, grab your big one. And they just said, no thanks, and ran down to the lake, got rid of the fish. No picture, no weighing big fish. Now keep in mind, a 4.36 and a 5 bass limit. Their 5 bass limit was 22.82 pounds. Their average was far and away over 4.36. So to have that weight, it's mathematically impossible without having a 436. And not to mention, if you have a weight that big, you're probably going to get a picture of it. These guys aren't shy of pictures. I've taken lots of pictures of 19-pound bags before, 18-pound bags. So anyway, what had happened was, and this has happened before at tournaments, and it's not a fault of the weighmaster. It really falls back on the angler's integrity to say something. So in a basket style weigh-in, typically what happens is the basket is placed on the scale, reset to 0, fish are placed in the basket, placed back on the scale. Typically the basket weighs around 3.5 pounds to 4 pounds with the lid. So when you take it off the scale should read around minus 3.5. Fish are placed in the basket's placed on the scale, you get your weight, go home, everyone's happy. Well, every once in a while, and this has happened before, and it'll happen again. It's just the nature of the beast. Just in error or whatever happens, the scale is set to 0 with the basket. The fish are placed into this basket, then placed onto the scale, giving you the total weight of your catch plus the total weight of the basket. Like I said, usually resulting in a 3.5 to 4 pound bump in your weight. So, in theory, what happened was this exactly. The team knew. Everyone has a awesome Rapala scale, touchscreen scale. You know exactly what you have within reason. It's always within half a pound or so. Knew what they had and made a game time decision to accept that weight as valid and get rid of the evidence, essentially. So they ran down to the water, no picture, sent them back, no big fish. And obviously a barrage of chirps and rumors and everything in the coming days ensued, and it made its way around the fishing community. And like I said, I'm not bringing this up to highlight this issue. I'm not trying to out these people or anything. They're both really good anglers. They've proven themselves. They've made a lot of mistakes, hopefully learning from it, but that's not the reason for this. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that, the rumor mill kind of circulated so much, and I thought we were done with this. It came, it went, move on. So the reason I bring this up is because some people have implied, that they've heard, or just it's all it is rumors, is that, they were in some kind of cahoots with the person running the scale and just pretty much total BS. The person that puts this tournament on probably has more integrity than, anyone I've ever met in his age bracket, for sure. Really good guy, just out there to, support the community, keep this thing going for the anglers, and, under no circumstances should be accepting any kind of, he shouldn't even have to hear a rumor like that. So, and I think there was a concern that he might not do the tournament anymore because of kind of all the BS he's had to deal with after. So it's, like I said, it's not on the weighmaster. You can't, most people can't just look at a basket of fish and tell if they're 390s or 450s. Like, it's just, it's on the angler to say something, and, if they don't, they don't. So, I just want to put that out there, and, kind of commend Bryce for everything he's done out there. And, if you're thinking that maybe that's something that happened, that's just way out of line. Like I said, these anglers are good. They don't have to cheat to win. They would have won anyway. Just made a really bad decision, and, hopefully can learn from it, and it really shouldn't reflect on the people that are giving up their own time to put these tournaments on for no personal gain at all. So, give Bryce and the crew out there a shout out for keeping this tournament going. And if you hear anything like that, I would highly recommend just shutting it down right there. So, And I should mention too, this kind of thing, didn't just happen at Shoal Lake. This happened at Bassin for Bucks last year. Jaden Simmons went up, weighed his fish. I was standing right there. Went up, weighed his fish. The basket issue happened. It's a thing that happens. I don't know if it's a glitch in the scale and it resets to zero sometimes. Things aren't perfect. You're weighing hundreds and hundreds of baskets, so this can happen. But it reset to zero. They call it as weight 18. I was like, oh, nice bag, bud. And, I saw him say something, no, shake his head, correct it, reweighed 14 and a half pounds. I mean, stand up move, just like the perfect example of integrity, and sportsmanship, and, something that really shouldn't go unnoticed. So I want to give a shout out to him, and, it's happened before. So yeah, if the scale gift happens to you, someone's going to find out about it. Or, I mean, you're just really not helping yourself at all. So it's like cheating on your scorecard in golf. But anyway, that's enough of that, kind of on the negative front, but something that had to be said. And curious to see the weights from Shoal Lake, and really looking forward to going back to that place at some point in the future. I wish my schedule would line up a little bit better, but it just hasn't lined up for that. But it'll be good fishing, and keep an eye out on the weights for that. Okay, so next we're just going to skate through a couple of local derbies here. There was a walleye tournament September long, kind of missed coverage on that. The last podcast came out before the derby was finished, so we didn't get to touch on that. But it's the Red Lake Fall Classic, big 120 boater, 2-dayer. Never been up there, but it's a great big fall walleye tournament. Looks like a good place to fish. Congrats to Blair Dingwall and Dylan Smith on that. Sorry, I don't have the results in front of me, so I'm not going to cruise down through the list, but if you made the top 10, congratulations to you. Another one of those things, man, there's so many tournaments up here, so many good ones. You just pick your poison, like even your species. There's the Nestor Falls Musky Cup it's going on right now. Actually, I might have to call and get an update. I haven't seen anything on that. But in this one weekend, there's walleye tournaments this weekend going on in Manitoba. There's, the Nestor Falls Musky Cup. There's a Shoal Lake Bass Classic. There's a LaBelle's Fall Bass Classic, whatever it's called, on Rainy Lake. There's a 1-dayer in Atikokan. Like, it's just bananas. Awesome to see how passionate everyone is around here. And yeah, the industry's rocking here. And we're going to keep putting out a bunch of good anglers, a bunch of good media from this area. And yeah, just thanks to everyone that puts these tournaments on. Like, I couldn't imagine what myself and a lot of us would do with their time without them. So thanks again to whoever I'm talking to, whoever's involved in all these derbies. So yeah, we had Crow Lake, Gussie and Shelby won that. I think it was their second or third year in a row winning. I don't have the stats in front of me. I'd be here all night going through all these derbies. Ben Gussis and Ali Crandall got second. Super heater this year. They won the bronze back. Benny and his dad, Jimmy, did really well in KBI. I think they ended up fifth there. Fifth again in Bassin on a heater. Obviously Jim and Ben are the father and brother of local derby legend Jethro Gustafson, and I don't think they've beat him yet this year, but they've definitely beat him during some days and are making it real interesting. No, they did get him in KDI, but he's been edging him out in the rest. So interesting to watch. Pretty much a family of hardcore competitors. So yeah, good job, Benny and Jimmy and Allie, and yeah, keep her rocking. What else do we have? The Manitoba Bass Anglers Tournament on the Winnipeg River for the third year in a row again. Jaden Simmons and buddy Sean McGaughy. They had, I think, 18-something. They whipped everyone last year. I don't think there's many teams there usually are with so many tournaments on these weekends. A lot of these small ones are kind of diluted down to, lots of them are 15 to 25 boats kind of thing. But, still awesome to have all these derbies around. What else we got? I think that's it for the local derby front. Got to hop and do a little bit of sponsor stuff. Don't worry, it'll benefit you. We're talking BT fishing, As always, promo code get the net, save you 10 points on your order. Now I ain't gonna lie, just sent a big order to an Elite Series champion. I'm not gonna say his name or what he got, but people are starting to recognize that this stuff is no joke. It's not, it's not made by some guy sitting behind his computer desk with a old piece of wood and dowel dreaming up made up baits. Like, this is tournament proven stuff. We only sell what we use. It's all high quality components. This isn't really the stuff that you get to go burn up at if you're casting offshore at a dam. Like, it's all high end stuff. High end components, paint jobs, everything like that. Check it out at btfishing.com, or you can get it in store at Lake of the Woods Sports Headquarters. While you're in there, check out some 13 fishing rods. Really kind of seeing a lot of people buying the Omen series. I've mentioned before how much I like those rods. They just kind of fit my style, and bouncing back and forth from the bass and walleye scene, I it's kind of the perfect rod for me. Omen Gold, Omen Blacks, the new Envies are coming out, and then the G-Man series. Sure you heard of Gerald Swindle. He's got a kind of a grassroots lineup that he's using himself on the Elite Series. I had a chance to use one of the reels in bass for bucks. Next level stuff, and kind of part of it is not making it totally out of control. I mean, you can easily spend $1,500 on a rod and reel combo these days. G-Man came from the dirt like a lot of us, so kind of one of the sticking points on these rods and reels is that they're affordable. I think they're $150 US for a rod or reel, so definitely attainable, definitely affordable. Those are going to be in store next year at Sports Headquarters, but they do have a stock of 13 right now, and I think there's a big sale going on right now also. 13 Fishing is all 25% off. Good deal on Z-Man. All I talk about is how much I love Z-Man plastics, chatterbaits, everything like that. I don't need to pump their tires anymore. If you watch the videos, and if you go fishing, it's legit stuff. I think it's buy 3 get the 4th free on their plastics right now. Check that out. I think it's online too, like sportsheadquarters.ca. And it might just be in store at Winnipeg and Kenora. Check those out. While you're at it, sniff out some Simms fishing gear. Anything from fish whistles to booties to Gore-Tex rain suits, women's rain suits. Ashley just got herself a nice rain suit. Just it's a good investment in yourself. I have definitely been guilty of wearing tattered rags back in my early days, and you at some point you got to treat yourself a little bit. So I've never used drier rain suits than Simms Pro dries, and I've never been more comfortable than I am in their gear. So also, it's high-end stuff. So definitely you want it to be quality, and I wouldn't be telling you to check it out if it wasn't, as with any other sponsors. So, and I should point out too, this podcast is ripping along pretty good. Between the YouTube views, it's starting to go in the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM realm, and that you can always, this is always available on that too. You don't have to sit in front of your YouTube. If you are interested in advertising opportunity, let me know. If you're sinking your money into radio or other ads that you're not really getting a return on, then hit me up. This is kind of the direction things are going. Radio's dead, TV's dying. Like, let's be honest here. This is where it's at. So if you want to get in on the ground level, give me a call. And one more thing I should mention as we tick into fall here, if you're starting to think about a boat for next year, you might want to put some heavy thought into it now. It's really hard to just wheel up in the spring and say I want this and expect to have it. So if you are looking, go down to WSL Sport, talk to Cam, ATVs, and they got some cool electric bikes and Sea-Doos and whatever you're after. Whether you're after like a hardcore fishing boat like my Pro V Bass, or you want to put the top up on like a family cruiser or a glass boat, or whatever you want, go check that out. never been happier with my Pro V bass. It's been a dream boat for me, and if you start looking around the bay and in a lot of tournaments, you're going to start seeing a lot of these boats, more and more every year. People are realizing that having a 4-seater bass boat that can handle big water and hold all your gear is a big advantage. Definitely worth looking at. Again, go see Cam at WSL, or get a hold of WSL in their Winnipeg location too. But anyway, we're going to slide on here. We're going to talk Bassmaster Opens. My buddy Cooper Gallant, I've mentioned him on here before. He's a fellow Canadian. He's trying to get into the Bassmaster Elite Series and has been leading the AOI Bassmaster Open points race going into this event on Red River that looks like an absolute dump, to be honest. So I'll lift the stats here for the river. They had actually just finished weighing in. I don't think the Opens will be updated, but man, this place is brutal. 26 pounds is leading after 2 days. Hackney's up there. Keith Boucher. Cooper finished in 109th. Caught 7 bass in 16 plus hours of fishing. And I mean, 109th sounds like a dumpster fire, but it's not. That's beating over half the field. You got to remember, these are 225 boat tournaments, and they're super tough. He's won and got third and has had a really good year, enough to be leading the points. So I don't think he's going to fall too far. Maybe third. The top 3 go to the elites. He's got 2 tournaments left. I'm going to see him down at Lake Hartwell next week, and then he's got one more on Sam Rayburn. So definitely cool to follow along. He's as hardcore as they come and is going to be the next big thing. And he's doing it the hard way for Canada right now. I do have to give a shout out to Adam Rasmussen. I see him on the list, 31st place. That's a good finish. I would be very happy with that finish. This is how brutal this fishery is. He caught 7 bass in 2 days. He had 15 pounds, 3 ounces, and he finished in 31st. He's going to get a check for probably around $4,000. That's just how bad it is. I mean, that's the reality of some of these places down south. I'm like I've said a million times, I'm heading down to Lake Hartwell, which I think is just going to be a lot better than this for weights, hopefully. But it's probably not going to be real easy. The fall time down there isn't like up here. It's transition-y like here, but I think it's a lot tougher to get bites, and I anticipate that like 12 to 14 pounds a day will be really good, where here, if you have that, you may as well just put her on the trailer and go home. But definitely looking forward to that. I've never fished for spotted bass before, and that's kind of the main fish in this lake. There's lots of largemouth too. They win a lot of the tournaments, but it sounds like there's more spots than anything. That's probably what I'm going to target. I'll probably be offshore fishing a lot, so the largemouth get offshore there too, apparently. But I don't know. I literally never targeted a spotted bass before, so don't really have a great answer why I'm driving 26 hours away during the best time of the year up here to pay $1,800 and $4,000 in expenses to fish for a bass that I've never fished for before. But to be honest, it's just kind of cool to be part of that, like to go fish against Swindle and Palinuk and all these other people, and just be able to have the opportunity to take it in. I don't want to be 60 years old looking back like, you didn't have anything going on that weekend, you got into there, like, why wouldn't you go? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And one of the other big reasons, and I haven't really said anything about this before, but we'll back up a little. The Bassmaster Opens announced their schedule the other day. Earlier in the month, they announced that you have to fish all 9 Bassmaster Open qualifying tournaments to be eligible for the Elite Series. They'll be taking the top 9 finishers out of all those 9 tournaments in points. You'll go to the Bass Elite Series. So, which is the top pinnacle, and that's the goal for a lot of people. But 9 tournaments is pretty bananas. Like that's like taking every second you have, for a lot of people, every dime you have or don't have, to kind of put it in a hat and go try. So, I mean, just the travel expenses and entry fees alone are probably close to 50 grand US. The payouts really aren't that great at that level. You can qualify for the Bassmaster Classic. That's kind of the carrot there. Why people are doing this. All these tournaments are super far away from me. The closest one is 20 hours. But to be honest, I'm kind of going down to Hartwell to, my first tournament at Cherokee, my first Bassmaster Open. I had a cakewalk, to be honest. I just went down there, caught him how I wanted to catch him. Ended up with a third place finish, made 20 grand, and whatever. It was all good, like easy. But I know better than to expect that again. I mean, I don't want to just blindly, if I do happen to be able to acquire enough sponsorship and time off and family obligations and everything like that, if everything lines up perfect and I am able to go fish all 9 Bassmaster Opens next year, I want to have dealt with a little bit of adversity first. So I'm hoping, I don't want to say I'm hoping to go down to Hartwell and get my ass kicked. But I need to see the other side of it. I know it's not all glory. I mean, I had to deal with the big travel last time and the sleep deprivation and traveling alone and whatever like that. But, I want to see a different area. I want another feel. I want another look at it before I commit. And even one more isn't really enough to be committing, but, time's ticking on and the opportunity is kind of here. So, another big reason I'm looking at that, but yeah, definitely looking forward to getting down there, and just seeing, and then I think I'm going to make my decision from there. Trying to procure sponsorship, especially for Canadians, is like almost impossible. And I hate to whine about it. But I put a ton of work into my platforms, have tournament results that are, I really couldn't ask for any better. And still, it's still a super grind to get sponsors. It's, but I, keep picking away and hopefully the tide turns at some point here. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to Hartwell. I've pretty much watched every YouTube video twice that's ever been filmed on that lake, just working away in the garage, put that on. Every podcast that's ever been about it. Got a full spotted bass seminar from Gussie. He's done really well in the spotted bass lakes. That's pretty much what I'm weighing my tournament on, is just confidence through him. To, like, if he's saying, yeah, you'll be fine, then that helps a lot. Apparently they act a lot like smallmouth in a lot of different ways. And if you're good on your graphs, you can maybe make it work. So kind of banking on that. I got Woody, my buddy from Atikokan's, cruising down. Be really nice to have a co-pilot this time. It's a 26-hour haul. And yeah, I looked at the weather. It was like, I don't know how many US guys are listening to this, usually about half, so you're not going to know what a Celsius is, but it was like 36 degrees Celsius, which, what is it, double it, add 30? The old big rig will be defeated on the front deck, but hopefully it cools off a little bit, get some schooling up, maybe eating some bait, I don't know. Hopefully get them in my crosshairs, throw some BT, probably some underspins at them, and hopefully catch them. That's one of the good deals about seeing where all the tackle goes. We send a lot of underspins to spotted bass country, Lake Lanier and surrounding lakes. So hoping I can put that to work down there. And yeah, I'll have more updates from down there. Staying with a couple buddies from Sturgeon Bay. Not going to rip a podcast down there. There's no way that's logistically possible, but I am going to make for sure do a YouTube video. Guy I'm driving down with is a character, so I'm sure there'll be some laughs on that front. Oh, what else is happening? Chicken season's open. We don't ever talk about hunting on here, but, and I, to be honest, I'm not a huge hunter either. I am a little bit I'm kind of soft. I can shoot a buck and I can shoot chickens and ducks, but I'm not like I'm not a major killer. I like chickens. I like eating them like crazy. Been on the hunt for them things. And when I say chickens, I'm referring to rough grouse. Get after those hard. That's the last tournament of the year, is the Surf and Turf Grouse and Walleye Derby. So got all sharpened up for that. I must have been big dogging it last fall after them 4 tournament wins. I opened my gun cabinet and there was a Beretta A400. I forgot I acquired. So I was big dogging it. Got a couple shotguns, running around shooting chickens out of spruce trees with a shotgun that should be in a duck blind. But anyway, it's nice to have that cracked open again. Nice to feel the fall air. And I'm leaving that all behind to go south and cook. But I wanted to bring a few chickens down to Hartwell for, like eating them is unreal. We only do it for a month out of the year, so usually hit them hard when they're here and wall them up. I was going to bring some south, but I forgot about all the poultry and bird regulations going on at the border right now. And actually, I'd heard from my buddy Matt Rydberg at Crawford's that he had some waterfowl people tell him that they weren't allowed to bring. A lot of waterfowlers come to Canada to hunt. There's lots of good spots here. They're obviously migrate, so they're here first before they get to any of the U.S. So people come up here to crack on them, and they were told they couldn't bring any back with them. They couldn't bring them across the border because of this poultry law or whatever was going on. And the obvious argument was that, hey, 4 billion of these things are flying south as we speak. They're going over the border, whether you shoot them and bring them or they just end up down there anyway. So I think that's been remedied. More border talk for any people from the U.S. listening. It sounds like they're shutting down the vaccine thing on September 30th. I know there are a lot of people without the vax that have been asking a lot and itching to get in. Well, you got the nod now. Look it up a little bit. Don't look it up for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But looked like some pretty legit headlines that were outlining it. So check that out. And yeah, we'll keep in touch. No guest tonight. Like I said, Norman is going to hop on. Wanted to get a podcast out. This will probably be the shortest one. Just myself talking here in the garage. But I do have to ask you, and I ask all the time, subscribe, like, share, everything like that. But I got to keep this thing rocking, especially if I'm, going to be fishing hard over the next couple of years. Need as much help as I can get. So if you can share this on your feed, that would be ideal. Tell a friend about it. Force a friend to listen to it. Anything like that really helps, subscribing, reviewing, all that. Without that, it's hard to kind of procure or retain any kind of sponsorship. And, this podcast goes away and ends up, you can get someone asking what your favorite color spinnerbait is on here again, with one of the other million fishing podcasts out there. But, I do have to say thanks to all the listeners. It's been growing really well, and, just kind of need to see that keep rocking. So, do anything you can to help that out, and I would much appreciate it. And for now, enjoy your fall. I'll catch up with you in a couple weeks. Cheers.